Hello and welcome to day 23 of the Puro Joshi Advent Calendar here on the channel. My name is Peps and today we're opening another door into the world of Japanese Pro Wrestling in 2025 as we take a look at my top 5 matches of Stardom's 2025. Like always, the matches are not ordered based on how much I like them. They are ordered based on when they happen in Stardom's year. So with that, let's jump straight into the first match. And the first match happened on February 24th, 2025 at Stardom Path of Thunder in Tochigi. And there are 3 wrestlers coming from Tochigi. All 3 of them had a big title match on this very show. And the match here I want to talk about is the main event. A Wonder of Stardom title match between Rina and Starlight Kid. The 18-year-old Rina here challenged Starlight Kid for the Wonder of Stardom Championship in the main event of the show. And it just shows you how much a promotion trusts Rina, giving her this opportunity to be Starlight Kid, who is one of the biggest stars in the entire company. The first defense of Starlight Kid's white belt run just tells you everything you need to know. The two have history together back in Oedo Tai as they teamed together with Rocka's Young Wade in even challenged for the Artists of Stardom Championships together in February of 2022 when Rina was just 15 years old. I remember that was against Mahime Poi, and I even remember how I read the news because back then you couldn't watch Stardom shows live in school because I was so hyped. Oh my god, is Mahime Poi going to retain? Of course they were going to retain, but for some reason I had the feeling, okay, maybe they're strapping up the Young Wado type team, but no, they didn't. Shocking, I know. And now 3 years later, they two, Starlight Kid and Rina, are no longer in the same faction, but they are facing off with the One of Stardom Championship on the line in a match that could a long way and would decide how Rina's push will go to the top of the Stardom. Rina has shown with her future Stardom title run that she has the wrestling IQ to work what Stardom's asking for bigger singles matches, with a great mind for pacing as well as the selling being really well. And here the pressure was more on her than ever, as she was in the main event of her hometown show, the first hometown pay-per-view Stardom has had in Tochigi, against the new champion Starlight Kid, who wants to establish herself, of course, as well as one of the top-tier wrestlers in Stardom's roster at that point. It's an emotional match on the personal side of Rina too, as she brought up in the preview video that she wants to win the white belt for Hana Kimura, who was an important mentor early on in Rina's career. The relationship goes back to the Stardom draft in 2019, when Cry Rina was the last person to be drafted, and Kimura chose her in an emotional moment and changed Rina's career forever. And emotions are an important part for a white belt match, and Rina has them. She has a story, and she has the skill to step up in the biggest match of the career, and she did. This match was an emotional masterclass. From the entrance on, where Rina entered the match with the sword of Hana Kimura, to the match itself, where Rina, who is normally known in these kind of situations, where in the future title match to dominate the match, found herself in the underdog role, and especially underdog role in her hometown, which is something she hasn't done ever before in the singles matches. And she nailed it perfectly. She got the crowd behind her against one of the Stardom's top baby faces in Starlight Kid, and they wanted her to win until the very last moment. I wanted it too. I went crazy at home for Rina, especially when she hit the cop killer and then teased. And that was, for me, the big thing. She even teased the Tiger Lily, which is the finishing combination of Hana Kimura, and it didn't go through, and that was the final nail that in her for the match for Starlight Kid, as she turned it around and then won the match via submission. A great match, and one day Rina is going to hit the Tiger Lily to win a belt, and we all will rejoice. This will be a fantastic moment. I can't wait until this happens. She also teased it in the GP semifinal against Azumi, also fantastic match. Rina has been showing out in 2025 a lot, and this was the first real highlight she has had in 2025. A fantastic match, established Starlight Kid well. You can't ask more for a first challenge. The next match I want to talk about is from All-Star Grand Queen in 2025. And we have 2 matches on this list from that show. And no, it's not the match kind of anyone expected with the main event. But the first match is the no disqualification match between Suzu Suzuki and Mei Sarah. And it was a grudge match following Suzu Suzuki's turn after her not being successful in Neo Genesis. Meanwhile, everyone else in the faction got a title, with the Artist of Stardom title, One of Stardom title, as well as Mei Sarah being the high-speed champion. And Mei Sarah and Suzuki challenge at the Powerful Thunder, the show we talked about before, the main event, on the same show for the Goddess of Stardom tag team titles, but lost their title shot there. Suzuki was the only one in the faction without a belt, and then turned on Mei Sarah at the Hurricane Hall show, and the match was set then later for also Khan Queendom with a no disqualification step. And unlike any other no DQ spot match, they didn't really use weapons too much. The only time they used weapons was in the beginning, and it was just a chair to get themselves busted open. And to be completely honest, the way they were busted open just was awesome. Suzu in this deathmatch situation is always great, and I was like, okay, they will definitely go all out with weapons, but no, they didn't, and I think it helped the match, because unnecessary use of weapons, even if death matches, can disrupt the flow, and instead they did something completely special and made the match stand out more. Their interpretation of no DQ wasn't, okay, ladder, table, chair, chain, or whatever, just what you can think of, but instead they chose violence. So pretty much the interpretation of this was, we are going to beat each other up without anyone interfering until one of us stays down. And here in this match, after 17 minutes of them just beating the living crap out of each other, it was Suzu Suzuki who won the match with the Sky Twister press for the first time. She hit that ever since the 5-star GP final in 2023. And it was a fantastic match. A bloody, violent match, just gritty, with both going to war, trying to just end each other. And I feel like the no disqualification step was used so creatively that it just made this match even better. It's a masterpiece in terms of the match layout. I adored this match. The other match on the show I want to talk about is the IWGP Women's Championship match between Shuri and Mayu Iwatani. And this is the clear peak of the rivalry. They have been facing off against each other a couple of times. Their Red Belt match in 2020 was a match that really got me into Stardom at the time. And it was a show that I really dived first into Stardom, and it was the main event. I liked that one a lot. I wasn't really a fan of the 2022 one and the Sumo Hall one, but ever since that, I think their matches have just gotten better and better. The GP match in 2023 was great. The match on Ichion 2024 was outstanding, and this match is just the peak of their rivalry. Everything here hit to perfection, and you gotta give it to them. They had the story of course, Mayu being, of course, a champion that she was for the 2 years to that point. And that just, with the entire story that she told throughout the title reign, that she is the wall that people need to climb and everything like that, was played out to perfection here in this match. Shuri was a monster. Mayu, just by being the wall, created a monster, and Shuri made sure with every piece of offense that she got to tear down the wall that Mayu Iwatani built. And it was so awesome to see the way she destroyed Mayu throughout the match. Mayu still fighting back and then just going at each other. The last 10 minutes, the near falls were incredible. I wasn't sure who is going to win. And that on top being Mayu Iwatani's not only last title defense with a title that she basically made on her own. It is one of the best in-ring title runs we have seen in recent memory, but also it being her last Stardom match ever just was fitting, and it just was perfect. This match is incredible. I would even call it perfect. It's a perfect wrestling match where everything, in my opinion, went absolutely insane. These two showed us what perfection in the ring looks like. It was incredible. A great way to end Mayu Iwatani's title run, where she defended it against a bunch of amazing wrestlers. For example, of course, Shuri, but also against Mercedes Monet, Utami, Stephanie Wacker, Mina Shirakawa, Sarit, Tsukasa Fujimoto, Toni Storm, Watanabe Azumi. All of the matches have something great to them, but this was one level above. Absolute masterpiece, in my opinion. The next match I want to talk about, and I a little bit touched about that in the video I made on Stardom CEO, is the 5-star final between Momo Watanabe and Azumi. And this was Joshi fans' moment of Goto wins the world title. Momo Watanabe, after all these years of being stuck in the same spot, finally being elevated to the next level by winning the 5-star GP. Finally having this massive moment was just so awesome to see. Momo Watanabe deserves the world. She is one of the best wrestlers in the world. She has been performing on a level that for a decade now in these big time situations where it's just incredible. And seeing her finally winning the big one got me emotionally. I gotta say it. I exactly know where I was when I watched the match. And I said in the other video I was in London in a hotel, and I just was speechless. I was so happy for her when I noticed, okay, it's really Momo Watanabe's time. It felt like a massive deal at that very moment. The match itself was just great. I think the best match both of them had the entire year, but also because the emotional tie-ins of the match with Azumi and Momo Watanabe teaming together for the majority of the beginning of their career in Queen's Quest until Momo Watanabe then turned on Azumi and they went two different paths. They had a great match in 2022. If people remember that in January, right at the beginning of Momo Watanabe's turn, where Momo just punted Azumi in the face with the wrench in her kick pad. That was so awesome, where she completely busted open her face and was like, oh, she's too dangerous and everything like that for Japanese media. No, it was awesome. Don't let anyone else say that. That was an awesome match. And now going back to this, where they just pretty much tied in everything they did in the rivalry against each other, every match they had, and just that mixed with the drama and the crowd slowly going more and more behind Momo Watanabe when they noticed, okay, it's really her time. And then the finishing stretch that paid off the match against Mayu Iwatani at Historic X over, where she once again sent no hate interference and stopped the hate from interfering, and she wants to do it clean. But this time she got it done. A tremendous moment in the free count hit, an incredible match that, in my opinion, is very high on my match of the year list. The last match I want to talk about is a recent one, and it made me a surprising one considering the match itself is not really that viewed as high as the other ones. But it's from the latest Stardom Curriculum also on December 8th. It's the Wonder Stardom number 1 contenders match between Ami Sohrei and Saya Ida. They went absolutely crazy in this match. In front of a sold-out Hurricane, the crowd was white hot, and they just were incredible. Saya Ida is super underrated, not only by the booking itself over the last couple of years, as this is the first major opportunity as a singles match that she's been getting ever since she has been vacating, so to speak, the Future Stardom title. But my God, is she great. Whenever she's in a ring, you know you need to expect something great, because that is she's just great. Like, whenever she's wrestling, doesn't matter in front of 200 people or 70,000, she gives it all. And that is something that makes her stand out at every single show. And that is exactly why she deserves this kind of opportunity. She went in there and took also one of the nastiest bumps of all time. I think everyone remembers that one. And next to the Fantastic Chops, where they did this suplex on the apron, and she just landed right on her back and took this insane bomb and sold it to perfection. That looked great. The striking exchange and the finishing exchange were just awesome. And when the free count hit, the crowd was so happy. And who can blame them? Saida deserves this moment. Really, really happy for her that she's getting the big sumo hall shot. On the other side, Ami Sohrei. She has been a talent that Stardom has been trying to push ever since she really arrived in the promotion. But since her comeback from injury, she has been super good. That is the best she has ever looked. Her 5-star GP run was great. The match against Ano, the match against Saida that she had there, the match against Bozilla, the match especially also against Momo Watanabe, all great. And then the tag run she had with Lady C is awesome. And now this match is her first peak, so to say, of her stardom run against Saida, where she had maybe the best match of her career. It also likely is the best singles match of Saida's career. They went out there and just killed it. Incredible match. If you haven't checked it out, I think the majority should have checked it out. Still do it. It's so good. With that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and comment down below. Bye-bye.